Mr. Chairman, thank you. Let me finish out this conversation. On June the 30th, there is a release of a proposal. There's going to be a comment period and everything else on offshore. When is the earliest we could actually start leasing? I know there's comment period coming back in. I've got a lot of other questions I want to go through, but when's the earliest, based on this proposal, we could actually start leasing? Because the 5-year plan is set to be done by that point. It's not done. It's a proposal. So when's the earliest we could actually start leasing?
Senator, thank you for the question. So we develop and release the develop and release of the proposed program draft, the programmatic environmental impact statement, followed by a 90-day public comment period. We incorporate those comments and input to develop and publish the proposed final program and final programmatic EIS, which can be approved by me and adopted 60 days after that. So we plan to have the proposed program by June 30th, and it's another 90 plus 60, 150 days after that, and probably. So
you're saying by the end of this year, by December 31, at that point with that calendar, that you would be able to start leasing at that point?
I will absolutely keep you abreast of the progress that we're making and make sure that this committee knows.
So when is the deadline on it to be able to start leasing, actually, to be able to get to this point to have this process done? I
don't think there is an actual deadline.
That's the concern, actually, that all of us have, is that there's actually no deadline, that the proposal to talk about it is coming on the date that it should be done, and that this is going to then stretch out for the next 2 or 3 years of talking about it. And so we're trying to figure out when's the deadline to actually start leasing.
We will absolutely keep you informed.
So there's not a deadline on it?
Not at this moment.
Okay, let me run a couple of things by you. We have a military base in Oklahoma that has a large energy found out of natural gas, actually. This has been a priority for DOD and others to try to make their bases more independent for energy at this point. We've been trying to get technical assistance from your office for the last 5 months to try to get the details in this. Can you commit to me we'll be able to get some technical assistance, because this is a priority of DOD, obviously of our state, but we're waiting on your team to be able to finish this out?
I am so sorry if you've been waiting on us. I will absolutely make sure that someone reaches out to your staff this afternoon.
Be very helpful. We're dealing with the same thing with the Osage Mineral Council. This is a tribe in Oklahoma that is very dependent on BIA and making decisions there. We have multiple decisions that's been delayed for a long time. This also deals with the remediation, the plugging, and all kinds of other things there. The Osage Mineral Council has been very interested in, but it seems to be just delay. The latest we just got back was sometime in June, and we're just trying to figure out when we're going to get a decision on that.
Just want you to know that Assistant Secretary Brian Newland has been in touch with the tribe recently, and he will continue to work with them.
That was the letter that says we'll get back to you in June. I've seen that letter as well from Brian. But they're just looking to try to figure out when are they going to get answers. Right now they're just getting we'll give you an answer at some future date, and trying to be able to get resolution on it. In the Southwest, and you may have heard about this, we try to give an update to your team. We were going to ask about this. The administration talks a lot about critical minerals development. In the Southwest, there is a company that has gone through the leasing process to actually do leasing since 2017 on lithium in that area. And now there is a pretty dramatic change where there's been a withholding of the core of their lithium deposit, that they're now saying, well, you can do all of your development, but not here in the core of actually the project itself. It's being held out. All they're looking for is for the information of how this decision is made and what they can actually get public about the actual mineral process itself. All they want is just engagement, but they're not getting the engagement at this point. And this is lithium deposits, which I understand we're trying to go after. So again, it's just engagement to be able to do this. One more thing, you talked before about some of the leasing onshore and had said you're trying to work with the different entities on trying to get the best possible leases out there. The ranking member had mentioned before in Wyoming that they're dealing with the frustration of the best possible leases are the ones that are actually not being allowed, that it's ones that are far away from the infrastructure. I'm interacting with companies that are saying there's a checkerboard of leases, and yes, they're producing, but they've got a lease, and they can't get the leases around it. So they're not going to go develop that lease until they know they can actually lease around it. So this checkerboard is not being made available to them. So they're saying, just drill on what you've got. And they're saying, well, we're not going to really do long-term intensive development there, bringing additional employees and bringing additional supplies until we know we can actually connect these leases and do more development. But that's not being allowed by your team. They have reached out multiple times to the team to say, will you talk to us about these leases being made available? And the answers they're getting is zero. They're not getting a response at all on it. So the frustration here is making the right leases available to actually lease that's next to other energy that's being developed where the actual infrastructure is. Again, this has the appearance for the future of we don't want more development in this area. We're going to make it more expensive and harder to be able to get to those leases rather than the less expensive areas where we know we have reserves and infrastructure being made available.
Thank you. Thank you so much for bringing that to my attention. And I will absolutely make sure that my staff reaches out to you and reaches out to them. I apologize for that non-communication.
Thank you. We all want to be able to get more energy. Our prices depend on it at this point to be able to get access to that.
Thank you, Senator.